Freya, and this is Josh.
My name is Tanisha, and I'm a Hindu.
My name is Gitika, and I'm 8 years old.
My name is Alicia Swami.
My name is Shreyas Dukal.
And my name is Krishna Bekalu.
My name is Shaida.
Hey, I'm Rickson.
I'm Nub.
My name is Petula.
My name is Sai.
How my culture was passed down to my parents is a lot different to how I was taught.
Today we're going to be interviewing our grandfather, who we call Zaini, about his bar mitzvah.
Today I'm going to be talking about some of the ways that my parents pass on cultural beliefs and rituals.
The Mundan ceremony is shaving the child's first hairs. It's a tradition of purification from the child's previous yonis or previous births. As Hindus, we believe in reincarnation.
Hatekari translates to chalk in hand. It is the official start of a child's education. This is when the child is first taught to write. The maternal uncle will support the child by guiding his or her hand to form their first writing.
Baptism is a special blessing and an anointing on the forehead, and there's special blessings that the minister says, and the promise is, if it's an infant baptism, are made by the parents and sometimes godparents to raise the child in a particular way.
In the Buddhist community, we focus on the age around 8 to 10, our rites of passage. It's really about the child spending their initial life really, being with themselves and being aware of their space and their own minds. And then coming to a point when they're around 8, where they're starting to kind of be more involved with their community and kind of looking outward more. So our rite of passage is this program that we've developed that lasts about a week, and we usually do it in this camp setting, usually out in the country.
And rites of passage, you have to find a perfect tree. This is the earth element. You have to cut off all the twigs. You have to shred it so it's really smooth. And when you have that stick, you have to put it in a special pond with these beautiful flowers and lily pads for at least 3 days. So then you can bend it to make the bow part. And then you put some string so it's a bow. And then you have to make the arrows hand by hand. And then you have this wooden fire stick where you can write what you want on it, so it's special to you and no one else. And you can fire it and through haystacks at the final ceremony.
That signifies their warriorship of becoming a warrior in the world.
How did you prepare for your bar mitzvah?
Well, we had a rabbi in Yarmouth. When I was having my bar mitzvah, there must have been about 50 Jewish families there, and I prepared by studying with the rabbi.
Just like us, we'll also be preparing by studying with the rabbi.
We start off our time with Sunday school, and that starts when you're fairly young, and that happens during the worship time, and it's specifically for kids. Summer camps and retreat weekends seem to be something that newer generations of people in the United Church are enjoying to pass along traditions.
I've been going to the temple ever since I was 3 years old, and I went every single Sunday. There at the temple, I joined a youth group, and it taught me a lot about my religion.
One of the biggest ways I learn about my culture is through attending the youth program at Hindu Temple, where we learn about our religious beliefs and practices.
The Gurukul is a type of education system in ancient India where students live near or with a guru in the same house. The students will learn from the guru and help the guru in his everyday life. In the modern age, Gurukul is replaced by spiritual teachings such as temples and programs such as ours.
My name is Shaida, and I'm the president of the Baptist Youth Fellowship. With our group, after the ages of 13, after Sunday school, they come and they can join us. It's from 13 to 25. We provide youth ministry, providing Christian character development, and we provide Christian education for youth who have outgrown the Sunday school curriculum.
The youth participate in workshops that are led by congregation elders that have them reflect on their transitions into adulthood with themes of Unitarian Universalist identity and gifts, as well as the courage and commitment to claiming the adulthood.
asking the students of Maritime Muslim Academy their favorite traditions and attributes that Ramadan has.
I like Ramadan because I get to volunteer at the masjid for Tarawih.
We remember and be grateful for the blessings we have.
Ramadan is a time to meet with family and friends at the masjid and connect with them.
Ramadan is a time that brings the whole ummah together. People are praying and fasting together in times of great reward.
Ramadan is special because it is the month where we give zakah, which is charity, to the less fortunate.
Ramadan is a time to reflect on yourself and create new and better habits.
Ramadan is important because it's the month when the Quran was revealed upon our Prophet, peace be upon him.
Ramadan is a time to renew our faith by getting closer to our God, Allah, by doing more righteous acts.
During the month of Ramadan, Muslims take the time to reflect on the meanings of the Quran since it was revealed in this month.
Amir Sanjar is a special ceremony of initiation into the Khalsa. It is a pledge to remain under self-control, governance of the ultimate reality.
Have a few different traditions and rituals that mark the different stages of a child and youth's life. And the last is to celebrate the transition of youth from their high school with a bridging ceremony. We use the term bridging to refer both to the ritual that we use to honor this transition and the process of leaving the youth community and finding one's place in a young adult community.
Red ceremony, or upanaya, as it's known, is a sacred rite of passage ritual in some Hindus.
The sacred thread, or janeu, is worn by boys following a series of rituals and steps.
Traditionally, the ceremony used to happen when a boy left home to go and live as a student with his guru or spiritual advisor.
The core of a lot of our beliefs is making covenants with our Father in heaven. And so as people grow in the church, they have opportunities to continue to make and keep covenants or promises with God.
The year that you turn 12, you have the ability to get the Aaronic priesthood, and there are 3 offices or quorums in the Aaronic priesthood. Deacon, the year you turn 12, and then teacher, the year you turn 14, and priest, the year you turn 16.
The bar bat mitzvah is when you turn 12 or 13. Basically, it's just like a regular service at the synagogue. There's just like any other one, except the person like whose bar bat mitzvah it is like leading it throughout the year. Each week you're reading another parsha, which is just like a chunk of the Torah. It's like chapters. The Haftarah is for all of the Torah portions. There's also the Haftarot that come with them, and that's like a separate book that each Haftarah has been paired up with a Torah portion because they like relate to each other in some way. That's a whole thing that you have to read.
How do you feel about us having our bar mitzvah?
You know, being your Zaidi and seeing your grandchildren do the Torah and do the service, it's just a wonderful feeling.
We also have the same Haftorah as our grandfather, which we think is pretty cool.
That is wonderful, you know.
You have the opportunity to choose to reaffirm the promises of your baptism that your parents made for you when you reach the age that you can pretty much ask for that yourself.
For 16-year-olds, there's something that more marks the transition fully to adulthood, which is called rites of warriorship, and that's to spend a little more time kind of on their own and interaction with their elders, looking at their experience of who they are and their commitment to joining the adulthood of being a gentle warrior. And we use the word warrior in kind of a unique way in terms of the sense of bravery to face life and all the obstacles of life with genuineness and kindness, even though that can be a lonely thing sometimes.
How my culture was passed down to my parents is a lot different to how I was taught. The festivals they had were a lot bigger in Bangladesh than in Canada, and a lot of other things in comparison were different. I was brought up in Canada, so my parents had to take different approaches to educate me.
My mom and dad teach me how to cook Indian food, which is one of my favorites. Learning Hindi language is important for me because that is the way I connect with my grandparents who live in India. I learn a classical Indian dance form called Bharatanatyam, which showcases various mythology stories by way of beautiful choreographed dance movements.
My parents told me stories on the many mythological tales we had.
Today, I'm going to tell you about bhajans. We sing bhajans in Hinduism, and they're very beautiful. I love them because you can just listen while you do your reading or something, because they're very peaceful. They tell you about history and stories, and they could be recent or from a long time ago.
Reading books about Indian folktales and watching shows that speak to it have also helped me gain knowledge about my culture.
My family started watching a show called The Mahabharata, and it helped a lot with learning about Hinduism. As I learned a lot about Hinduism, and I still go on YouTube and look at stories, which also helps a lot.
Every once in a while, I got to hear how my dad's side or my mom's side practiced our culture as kids. I got to learn the difference between now and then. They usually took the time to answer any question I had on our culture and tradition, and always got me involved in our evening prayers and helped me take part in festival performances and more.
At home, my parents would also talk to me a lot about my religion, which also helped.
Basically, how my parents passed our dharma down to me is they exposed me to a lot of cultural topics as a kid. From listening to devotional chants to taking part in festivities, I have learned a lot thanks to my parents' efforts. And that's how my culture was passed down to me from my parents. Thank you.
Most importantly, praying to God and knowing that there is a bigger power watching over us. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.